Amex, Chase,
Ooh, yeah.
Built,
Yep.
Capital One,
Big
four
names.
different issuers, and Discover the game can be addicting. I realize that you're going for these credit cards all the time, and I
Yeah.
caught myself in this trap a little bit. I don't want to say I'm addicted, but I'm
Yeah.
showing a little bit of behavior of addiction. This may
Yeah.
ruffle a little bit of feathers, but it's the truth. And I'm
Yeah.
going to share the truth.
Here we go.
One thing that I realized in the credit card space is
Hey, what's going on, guys? Calvin Russell here. Super excited to bring you guys yet another guest speaker. All right. Now, many of you all already know about his channel. This guy has already been talking to people so much about different credit cards. And listen, I know you all love to talk about credit cards. So listen, you need to take out your notepads, get everything ready. He does not have a lot of time. So we got to get everything we can before, of course, because of course his schedule is always different. So we want to make sure we get you guys everything today. All right. So of course we want to introduce you all to none other than CJ. CJ, are you with us today?
yes, yes. What's up? Hey, everybody. I am super excited to be here for this chat. Thank you so much for bringing me on and giving me the opportunity to speak to your audience. And I hope we can have a really, really good session.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, listen, you've been talking about some things that have not only been getting a lot of people's attention, but these are some questions that we see from either our community, from, people that email us, some of our clients when we create them a game plan. Everyone has questions about the things we're going to be talking about today. Matter of fact, let's get right into it. So now you talked about you don't want to get an American Express credit card unless you can handle these five things. What are those five things?
Thank you so much for that question. That was actually one of the most viewed videos on my channel with the Amex credit card. I remember, I think that one has somewhere over 16 or 17,000 views. But anyway, five things you need to be able to handle before you get an Amex credit card. The annual fee. We know American Express has those crazy annual fees on some of their credit cards. Then you need to be able to pay your statement in full because a lot of those cards are charge cards. So every single month you want to pay that statement in full, but there's a little bit of a nuance to that, and I'll get into that a little bit. The
Mhm.
next thing, you want to be able to use those monthly credits. Now, some of you may be thinking, what the heck is a monthly credit? I'll get into that too. Be
Okay.
flexible to get good value for your points. That is key for basically any travel credit card where you are accumulating points. And the last point is to be able to get value from your reward categories. So let's go back to that pay your
Yeah.
statement in full and the fact that American Express credit cards are really charge cards, but they kind of market themselves now as a hybrid type of card. So, what is that? That's really a card that kind of acts like a credit card, but it's not really a credit card because that credit limit isn't being reported to the credit bureaus, right? So on my Amex
Yeah.
Gold card, and I have turned off this feature, I had a pay over time limit of $15,000. So that pay
Mm.
over time limit, it looks like you have a credit limit. Even when you log into the app and you're checking your statement and you see you've used this much out of your pay over time limit, it's going to act just like a credit card as you make your purchases. But what it allows you to do is to carry that balance on your credit card monthly with American Express, or I should say your charge card, right? Monthly
Yeah.
with American Express. If you have the green card, if you have the gold, platinum cards, those charge cards. And then the thing that I don't like about it is
Yeah.
that the interest rates are pretty high.
Mm.
So
Especially
I,
now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially now, I know the feds are currently cutting interest rates slowly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But those interest rates are still really high.
Yeah.
So when I went with American Express, I really didn't understand this hybrid card thing until I actually got into it. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I have a pay over time limit. So maybe this will report to the credit bureaus and show that I have this another $15,000 in my credit limit.
Yeah.
That was not the case.
What's going on, guys? Today I want to share something with you that's really special, especially for small business owners. It's about Fair Figure and their Capital Card, today's sponsor.
This isn't your typical credit card. The Fair Figure Capital Card is designed specifically to help small and medium sized businesses build or strengthen their credit, even if they have limited or poor credit history. Unlike traditional credit cards, this one is based on your business deposit history, not your credit score. So even if you struggled in the past getting approved for credit cards, don't worry. Fair Figure's got you covered. And here's the best part. Your activity is reported to major business credit bureaus such as CreditSafe and Equifax. That means responsible use, like on time payments and low utilization, can actually build your credit over time. The more your credit improves, the more funding you have access to. So as your business grows, you're not stuck. So you can scale right along with it. If you're ready to build your business credit and get access to the funding and capital that you need, scan this QR code right here or click the link in the description below. Now back to the video.
So what's
Mm,
going to happen if you continue to carry a balance since that credit limit isn't being reported to the credit bureaus? It's going to look like your debt is increasing, but you don't have
yeah.
any credit line that has increased as well. So it can actually increase your debt ratio or your utilization ratio.
Okay. Got you. Got you. Wow. And see, a lot of people don't talk about things like that, not just with American Express, but just taking those types of things into consideration. Because a lot of times, right now, of course, the trend is people are talking about, obviously credit card stacking, things of that sort. But I don't think that they take those types of things into, consideration. Now, of course, some of my, of course, viewers, they're not trying to do all that. They're just trying to make sure that they understand the basics. But they may have American Express on their list as one of the cards that they want to get. And I think that those things you just mentioned were very key. But there's also something that you mentioned recently. And it was essentially you wish someone had told you this before you had gotten an American Express card. What is that?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I wish that people told me before I got an American Express credit card. One
Yeah.
thing, and I don't even know if I mentioned this in the video, so I'm just going to state what I
Yeah.
still wish. So, one
Yeah.
thing that I wish people told me was really how much those credits really impact you, those statement credits
Mm,
with American Express. So, once you start getting a lot of American Express cards, currently I have the gold card. I have
okay.
the Hilton Honors American Express card. I have the Hilton Honors Business. I have the Blue Business Plus, but that's okay. That doesn't really have any statement credits. So those
Yeah.
three credit cards or charge cards and credit cards that I mentioned, they all come with some sort of statement credit. So with the
Yeah.
MS Gold card, we know that those statement credits have recently changed, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So the annual fee went up. Is something I wish I knew as well about American Express, that the annual fee can go up and they will go up. And once that annual fee increased, one thing that American Express has been doing was bringing in more statement credits to help to offset that annual fee increase or help to soften that blow, so to speak, right? So we have all of these monthly statement credits. We have the Dunkin' Donut credit, we have the dining credit, we have the Uber credit, and you kind of have to be able to fit those things in. And if it really isn't a part of your regular spending habit, it can become a bit taxing. So, for example, my Hilton Honors business card, when I got it, it was super simple. It's a $95 annual fee credit card. And the main credit that I looked at was whenever I stayed at a Hilton property, I would get I believe it was $25 or up to $50 in a credit towards meals.
Yeah.
Now the annual fee is $195 and you get a $240 credit that is split quarterly. So
Yeah.
$60 per quarter. So
Okay.
now if I want to take advantage of that, I either have to stay at a Hilton property 4 times per year in each
Yeah.
quarter, which makes it difficult for someone who isn't traveling all the time,
Yeah.
or I have to be willing to go and purchase a gift card to trigger that credit and have that gift card, I think, mailed to me. I remember Anthony Ventura has a video about it, but
Yeah.
I haven't done it because to me that's just too much work to go for $60. It's really not that serious in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. No, you know what? I think that a lot of, again, this is why we brought CJ here, guys. So make sure you guys, of course, if you like hearing this type of content, especially not just about American Express, he talks about a lot of different types of credit cards on his YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out his channel as well so you guys can get more of these gems. Let's continue going, man. Well, first off, CJ, how'd you find yourself, in this whole credit card game, talking about credit cards, creating a YouTube channel? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, okay, so the journey from the beginning, and I promise I will be as brief as possible. the
No
journey from the
worries.
be- the journey from the beginning was I started with YouTube content, right? Really, what got me my growth was covering stimulus checks, and obviously, stimulus checks is
Mm,
something during the pandemic that was
yeah,
going to be a topic that had a end date, so to speak.
the
So
stimmies.
right, exactly. Everybody wanted free money back then, right? We remember those days. I even wanted free money. I didn't need
Right.
the free money, but I'm not gonna say no to free money.
There
So
you
like I
go.
want my stimulus check. So I jumped on that bandwagon. I saw that it was a new trending topic because just about everybody in the finance credit card or the finance space on YouTube, at some point they covered stimulus check content. So I said, you know what? This could be the first thing that actually breaks my channel and I get some views. So
Mm,
I tried it and I got 100 views within the first, I think it was the first few hours, which
wow.
at that time I didn't even have 100 subscribers. So
Wow.
getting that many views, I was like, okay, this can work. This really
Yeah,
can
that's
work.
right.
So I stayed on with that stimulus check stuff and I got into the habit of, okay, let me go online, research, see what's happening. And from there, it just started to grow. Like I didn't have crazy explosive growth, but
Yeah.
for my channel, starting out with like at that point, I probably had like 27 or so subscribers to
Yeah.
be able to grow it to 1,000 subscribers in just it was a few weeks. That was crazy. So I noticed, okay, stimulus checks isn't something that I'm going to be able to stay on the entire time, my entire time on YouTube. So I need to
Yeah.
be able to do something. And I did have just a handful, I think, of credit card videos prior to jumping into the stimulus check videos. So
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Let me go back to credit cards because at that point,
Yeah.
too, there were things happening in the credit card space because people weren't traveling. So
Yep.
credit card companies or credit card issuers, they were really handing out some really good incentives to get people to sign up for credit cards. This
Wow.
is when we had the Chase Sapphire Preferred that offered 100,000 ultimate reward points after spending
Wow.
$4,000 within
Yeah.
the first 3 months of account opening. And
Okay.
that's when I jumped into the travel game. I was thinking of it already, but I jumped into it. I never recorded a watch me apply video for that, even though I was doing a little bit of credit card content because I had just switched back over. I
Yeah.
thought those videos were boring. I didn't understand the space as yet. So I said, nobody is going to want to watch this, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
record that video. But that was my mistake. But anyway, and it's been basically smooth sailing from there. I've learned so much
Amazing.
being in the credit card space, being in the
Yeah.
travel space, and I just like sharing that journey now with everybody.
Real quick, be sure to download our free ebook today. All you got to do is scan this QR code right here or click the link in the description below. Now back to the video. That's good. And you know what? It's always good to to hear that because a lot of times people, they listen, even though we're in front of the camera, we are human just like anybody else. And again, we're like, hey, listen, this is my experience. And if there's something that you all can learn from it, then here are some tips, as well too. But it's not just that though. And now you've most definitely been giving out so much great information. And let's continue. There was one thing that you talked about too, where you talked about 5 warning signs that you have too many credit cards. People always ask, especially in our our online community or during their game plan session, they always say, well, you know what? How do I know if I actually have too many credit cards? What's your answer to that?
Oh man. So that video, I would encourage everybody to just take some time to watch that video because one thing, and I'll preface it with this, and this may
Yeah.
ruffle a little bit of feathers, but it's the truth. And I'm
Yeah.
going to share the truth.
Here we go.
One thing that I realized in the credit card space is, and especially I'm a credit card YouTuber, I see things
Yeah.
behind the scenes, I have access to affiliate networks, etc.
Mm,
You begin to become motivated as a creator to begin to cover certain credit cards because of the incentive behind it.
mm,
And one thing that happens is you begin to become really tempted to create these videos that has these different lists, right?
yeah.
And I'm not going to say every video is bad. There are some very useful videos that has these different credit card lists, but there
Yeah.
are some that it's really motivated by the amount of potential affiliate income that you can get.
Yeah.
So what we can tend to forget as YouTubers is that we're speaking to people who may not necessarily need to have all of these credit cards because the end goal may be, well, I want to hit a certain number
Yeah.
so that I can have a certain amount of profit for the month or whatever. So
Mm,
anyway, I would say that just be careful when you are watching those videos because you can end up with a lot of credit cards. And
that's right.
granted, I don't have a whole lot compared to a lot of some of the YouTubers out there, but I do have a lot. I even stopped counting. I think I have around 13 right now, definitely over 10 and maybe 13. But what I am beginning to realize is number one, starting to pay interest. You're like, wait a second, did you just
That's
say you
right.
don't want to pay interest with the American Express card? So how are you falling into that trap with starting to pay interest? Well,
Right.
because I have 13 different credit cards
Yeah.
and I don't have them all on automatic, but even when I do have them on automatic,
Mhm.
it's automatic for the minimum payment, so I don't pay a late fee. And if I'm just paying that minimum with the automatic payment, then I end up hitting that interest charge. So I begin to lose track, honestly, with okay, which cards did I use? Which cards did I pay off? And I go back and forth. I have a day where I usually pay off all of my credit cards, but sometimes there's just that one credit card that slips through the cracks that I've totally
Yeah.
forgotten about. And then I'm like, did I pay that credit card? And I go back and I check. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I did not pay that credit card. Why? Credit cards from Amex, Chase,
Ooh, yeah.
Built,
Yep.
Capital One,
Big
four
names.
different issuers, and Discover. So I have to
Wow.
go through five different apps to
Yep.
make sure that I paid every single credit card. And granted, I am using some of them. So as soon as I pay it, there's another charge that hits that credit card maybe the next day. So
Yeah.
the balance isn't going to stay at zero. So it begins to become very hard to track that. The
That's
next
right.
thing I would say, you
Mhm.
really want to you really want to get into a credit card ecosystem and pretty much stick with it
What does that
because
mean?
so we have the different credit card ecosystems that earn
Yeah.
points, right? So we have American Express, which
Yep.
has the membership reward points ecosystem if you're getting those cards that earn membership reward
Okay.
points. Not every single card earns points. Some of them earn cash back, right?
Okay.
And some of them earn points for like niche names like the Amazon credit cards. Then we have Chase that earns ultimate reward points for some of their ultimate reward point earning credit cards. We have Citi cards that earn thank you points. We have Wells Fargo cards that I think they just call it bonus points.
Okay.
So within those ecosystems, I would say select the one that works best for you
Okay.
because you're going to run into the problem potentially, and this is the next point here,
Mhm.
where you may start to accrue points too slowly. Why would that
Yeah.
become an issue? Okay, with American Express, you have that gold card that is that dining card, your grocery card, your go to food card with American Express. $325 for the annual fee. So you're more compelled to
Yeah.
use that card. But if you're
Okay.
also in the Chase ecosystem, you're going to have the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Chase Sapphire Reserve. I'll talk about
Right.
the Sapphire Preferred because I have that card. $95 annual fee makes sense, gives you access to Chase's transfer partners, but then you have now two dining cards. You have a dining card with American Express, that gold card, and you have the Sapphire Preferred, which is that dining card with Chase.
Yeah.
And then to maximize your earning point potential with Chase, you need the Freedom Flex, or I would recommend the Freedom Flex and the Freedom Unlimited.
Okay.
And both of those cards also earn the same amount of points in the dining category. So eventually you begin to start having a whole lot of overlap, right? So the Freedom Flex, each quarter, at least one quarter per year, there's a specific grocery store category which overlaps with the Amex Gold card, which is your grocery point multiplier as well. But
Mm.
you're going to be more compelled to use the Freedom Flex because you're earning 5x ultimate reward points,
Right.
whereas with the Amex Gold card, you're earning 4x in that grocery category. But that's just when there's a grocery category. Depending on where you shop, you may be able to hit this category a couple times per year. Why? Because if you shop for groceries at Target, there's usually a category in
Yeah.
or a quarter where Target is a category. So now you're earning 5x points at Target. And it's like, okay,
Right.
well, now I need to use that card.
Yeah.
Then when the restaurant or eating out category comes, now that 3x category earns an additional 4x points, so it becomes a 7x category.
Mm.
Are you really going to use your Amex points or your
Right.
Amex Gold card at that point? So now
Right.
you have this gold card that's costing you
A year.
$325
Mhm.
per year,
Yep.
and you're finding more value using your Chase card, but you don't
Yeah.
want to let that card go because you're already in the Amex ecosystem.
Yeah.
So imagine when you start getting point or cards in different ecosystems. Then, like I
Mm.
have
Right.
the Venture X credit card. That's a
Yeah.
catch-all credit card. That's 2x miles on everything, right?
Wow.
Basically, and
Okay.
just a couple categories where you can get 10x or I think 5x miles. I think those are two. But for the vast majority of your expenses, you're going to get 2x miles. But I have the Freedom Unlimited, which is a 1.5x ultimate reward point earning credit card. Then I have
Yeah.
my Amex Blue Business Plus, which is a 2x membership reward point earning credit card.
Yeah.
So I have to balance, well, which one am I going to select? And
Mhm.
it's always a back and forth game between it. So now I'm earning a little bit of points in Chase, then a little bit of points in American Express, then a little bit of points in Capital One. So it's so much overlap that it's you really need to pay attention and be strategic with which cards you're getting. And I would say, don't follow the crowd. If the crowd is pushing American Express,
That's
make
right.
sure that it works for you. If the crowd is
Yep.
pushing Chase, make sure that it works for you. And then I'll just mention my other points really quickly. Annual fees. You can start to get too many annual fees. I currently
Yeah.
have just over $1,000 in annual fees now. I never wanted to get over $1,000, but because American Express has increased those annual fees on the
Yep.
Gold Card and my Hilton Honors business,
Yep.
then now I'm over $1,000. Then you start with American Express specifically, you can get statement credit burnout, which again, I mentioned earlier, they've been adding even more statement credits. So now you have even more to try to get to try to recuperate those or recover from those annual fees. And I think my final point is those permanent sock drawer credit cards.
Yeah.
So honestly, the Sapphire Preferred is one of those permanent sock drawer credit cards. I
Nice.
use it
Okay.
once in a while because I still need access to Chase's transfer partners. But other than that, my Freedom Flex and Freedom Unlimited, they overlap so much with that card that it just doesn't even make sense for me to take it around with me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I love how you broke that down because, a lot of times people they'll hear just like, they watch a video or even their friend, a family member, gives advice about something and it includes, a particular credit card. And then because they like it, they talk about obviously the pros. And a lot of times they don't even think about the cons or if it even works with their, their regular lifestyle. And now you're forcing yourself to go to these restaurants. You're forcing yourself to do certain things just to kind of, get the value, out of some of these credit cards. And again, some people don't realize, and they may not swipe as much, or they may not be necessarily spending money in those categories. And now you just have, an annual fee bill, for no reason
Right.
really,
Right.
So yeah. And there was also something that you mentioned, as well too. What do you feel is the overall problem with the credit card game? What's your thoughts on that?
So I've actually been thinking about this a little bit to myself as
Yeah.
well. And I may create a video at some point going over this. I think the problem is there's and it's interesting because I mentioned this in one of my recent videos I did decently as well. I didn't even realize this
Yeah.
would resonate with people. I went through several different points. And this one point resonated with so many people was that the game can be addicting.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
realized that you're going for these credit cards all the time. And I
Yeah.
caught myself in this trap a little bit. I don't want to say I'm addicted, but I'm
Yeah.
showing a little bit of behavior of addiction. So the
Mhm.
last credit card I got was the World of Hyatt credit card.
Okay.
And the reason why I got that credit card because there was this elevated offer. I've had this on my list for the past 2 years, I believe, on my credit card roadmap.
Wow.
And I always said, I'm not going to get this credit card unless it comes out with a really good welcome offer.
Mm.
So the welcome offer was to get 5 free nights after I think spending 4,000 within 3 months. 4,000
Okay.
tends to be the magic number in the credit card
Yeah,
game.
I've been seeing that too. Yeah, everyone's been
Yeah.
saying that. Yeah.
So 5 free nights out of category 1 through category 4 Hyatt
Okay.
Hotel. So I'm like, yes, I need to get on it. Go for this credit card. This is a great deal.
Yeah.
Now ask me if I have any plans to use those 5 free nights.
Nope.
Ask me if I look to see where those category 1 through category 4 Hyatt hotels are located. And we
Oh
all
man.
know that
Yeah.
Hyatt has a much smaller footprint than Marriott and
Oh yeah.
Hilton.
Yeah.
But here I am applying for this credit card because I honestly was excited to get it. I'm still excited to get it because I
Yeah.
have 5 free nights. But
Yeah.
did I need to get that credit card?
Yeah. You're right.
No,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
So what I find is you're jumping from one welcome offer or elevated welcome offer to the next elevated welcome offer
Yeah.
because you get this a little bit of a
A
dopamine
rush.
hit,
Yeah,
right? It's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I hit this number. Now it's like, okay, well, okay, let me go back to regularly scheduled programming and using my cards like a normal person. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm still looking out for the next deal. Like in the back of my mind right now, I still have the Amex Platinum card on my
Yeah.
brain, even though that card absolutely, absolutely does not fit me. But
Yeah.
I want the box. I want to
That's right.
unbox it and show everybody I have this platinum card for whatever reason.
Mhm, mhm. Now, you know what? And not only that too, and I always tell people, my clients, it's almost like back in the day, like in high school or something, and nobody wants to get rejection, and I think those were like the early days of rejection. You may ask a girl to prom or, to go out with you or something like that. And so that resonates with us. So similar to, anything that's credit related, it feels good to be approved. And, since that's one of the things that doesn't really require much, like a huge commitment, like a house loan or an auto loan, it's like, oh, it's just a credit card. And then especially if they send it to you, then like you said, they feel like that's a dopamine hit. And it's like, okay, you know what? I got this. I have this relationship. But unless you have a strategy, when I interviewed Key a while back, she's got over 50 credit cards active,
Right.
so
That's crazy, man. I don't know
active.
how she
So
does it. That's crazy.
listen, but she is like a robot when it comes down to, I mean, everything's pretty much on auto pay and things of that sort. But it's like you said, she pays attention to, okay, I'm going to do this with this. She travels once a month. So she has a strategy that works with her and what she spends, so everyone's lifestyle is obviously different. That may not
Right.
work for everybody, but like you said,
Doesn't work for me.
right. But the average person, and it's like Sledge always says, listen, he's always says, listen, I don't recommend you do this unless you know what you want to do. And obviously, what if it makes sense, for your lifestyle, not just trying to figure some stuff out. Because I'll be talking about, how it's like a lot of these credit card companies, they've changed interest rates. For the, I mean, just right before the holiday season. So it's a lot of stuff that goes on the back end that
Strategy.
yeah, exactly. Profit margins,
Hmm.
so people were not swiping as much in these last 6 months, because they could not, or was maxed out, or whatever the case may be, but now because it's Black Friday, all of a sudden now it's like, oh, well, the same credit card you couldn't get 3 months ago, 6 months ago, your score has probably gone down. Now all of a sudden you can get approved for it. So it's almost like they're trying to dig that hole, similar to the mortgage industry in 2008,
And they
so
are.
yeah,
And it's so crazy because I just read an article. I don't remember the figure, but it's
yeah,
like so much
36%.
debt right now. So much
Oh
debt right
yeah,
now with credit
yeah,
card in America. It's like the highest right now it's been in a very long time.
yeah,
But yet they still want more. They're doing
yeah,
extremely well, but they still want more. So got
yeah,
to be careful,
insane.
man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, CJ, we greatly appreciate you taking out the time away from your family, away from your business to drop these gems. And again, guys, make sure, you guys check out his channel, of course, if you want to learn more about different credit cards and credit card strategies as well. And obviously, you can see CJ is giving you all a more conservative approach and just doing things, at your own pace, not just stacking up cards and then finding yourself in a bad situation. Because at the end of the day, it's got to make sense to you, So everyone's strategy is a little bit different, but it's got to most definitely make sense to you. And CJ, is there anything else that you want to wrap up with before we get out of here today?
I'll wrap up with exactly you just mentioned. I take more of a conservative approach because I
Yeah.
think that's the approach of the vast majority of the general public out there.
Yeah.
So, and that's just my personality. I'm more conservative with a lot of things that I do in my life. I'm
Yeah.
not out there and I'm not really wild. So I'm not going to come on YouTube and be this wild personality that's just getting everything because it just doesn't make sense and it isn't
Yeah.
authentic for me. So
Yeah.
I will say find yourself a YouTuber who is authentic. Find yourself a YouTuber who is like you. And also find yourself a YouTuber who is not like you so you can get two sides of the
That's right.
spectrum, right? Like
Yeah.
Key, she is absolutely amazing. Sledge.
Yeah.
Sledge is my boy. He is
Yeah.
amazing. He keeps it
Yeah.
real. Chad keeps it real.
Yeah.
So definitely check them out because they have a different perspective than me. And then come on over to my channel and check me out too.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, thanks again, man. We greatly appreciate your time.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.